Now, in the interest of full disclosure, let me just say that I've only played Mario Party 8, but I've seen a lot of gameplay for the other 7 games, so it kind of evens out, right? And I enjoyed Mario Party 8. I don't care what the critics said. I thought it was a really fun game, and if I didn't need trading credit for GoldenEye 007, I'd probably still have it. But anyway, that's like half a decade ago. Let's look at the series now with probably the last full release for the Wii that I'm going to get, Mario Party 9.
Yeah! Yahoo!
Ah, good old Mario Party charm still makes you smile. Oh, and before we start this review, know that I'll always be playing as Wario. So when he triumphs, you know I triumphed. When he fails, same thing. That should save me some clarification. For those who don't know what Mario Party is, it's a board game with mini-games placed here and there. Roll the dice, have them all start at the end, and be very good at prayer. I think that's a pretty appropriate summation. Now admittedly, the first 5 minutes of this game felt like 12 consecutive bitch slaps. Mini-games aren't at the end of every turn, and are instead done when landing on certain spaces? There aren't any coins in this game? The stars have been replaced with mini-stars and are now littered throughout the board? Speaking of boards, they're all linear? And to top it off, all the players move together in one car rather than on their own? So yeah, there's a few breakaways from the standard Mario Party formula, but this new system really started to grow on me. And there's 8 games spanning 3 consoles, now counting the handhelds, of the old style, so there's nothing wrong with getting one of the older ones. And I have to admit, there are some undisputably positive changes, like having boss battles in or at the end of the games. That's awesome. And you know, the luck factor, honestly, isn't as high actually. Well, okay, admittedly that's a little hard to judge, and it's still definitely a prominent factor, but now that the stars are directly awarded through minigames, a good portion of your score is brought about by skill. Of course, you may get completely screwed over once in a while, but coming from someone who has had half of his stars taken away from him 3 times in one match and still was able to win by 20 stars, I can say that skill can take you a bit further. At least, that's my experience. And, you know, I was somewhat pissed when they announced the car, but it does bring you further into the action and gives you many more ways of screwing over your teammates. On to the actual minigames. I honestly enjoyed pretty much every single one that I've come across so far. There are so many of them that I'm not really sure how to talk about them generally. I think some of my favorites are the overhead platforming. I especially love jumping on people's heads to screw them up. Like here, oh, he's gonna beat me, oh, just barely won. The rock climbing one kinda reminded me of Jumpstart typing. Yeah, that's my most obscure reference since Quasimodo and Goblet of Fire, I know. Anyway, I also really enjoyed making pizza, shooting down Bowser Jr., and many others. If I had to name a favorite, it would probably be this one. I still haven't avoided all the spiked balls in one run, but I'm trying. And with the exception of this minigame, I'm not very good with names if you couldn't tell, the controls were absolutely fine. One last minigame to mention is this one. Anyway, you know how in the older games there was a ton of button mashing, and in the 8th there was jacking off? Well, in this minigame,
You get to do both!
bosses are also pretty good. Well, I hate the dry bones one, but other than that, I enjoyed them, with the standouts being the Cheep Cheep and the Chain Chomp ones. Yeah, chomp on that! See what I did there? And if you want a more skill-centric experience, there are a number of game modes where you just play through the minigames. They're also pretty good, and there's a fun time trial. Graphically, the characters themselves are a little pixely up close, but each stage features a different eye-pleasing setting, and that's kind of what I'm looking for. The music's vintage Mario. In other words, really good. Now, in terms of downsides, let me think. Well, okay, look Nintendo, I am sick of this last place helping garbage. When you get to the almost there point, the last player gets some help, and this is really annoying for those in first and second place. And some will, of course, argue that it helps you when you are in last place, to which I say,
I don't need your goddamn charity!
while better than the previous games, in my opinion, as I said, luck is still pretty heavy in parts. This can get under anyone's skin. My biggest gripe would have to be that the boards are a little too similar. I don't think there's a way around this fact, which is odd because Nintendo had half a decade to develop this. And while it pays off in the mini-games, the boards themselves has very few distinguishing factors from each other, and they feel kinda rushed. Which, again, when you look at the fact that this is only the second game to hit the Wii in the series, you'd argue that this is probably the least rushed Mario Party ever. There are some fun wrinkles and a few unique invents in each, and I'm not calling them copies. I'll continue to play every single one, but they should have stepped up their creativity in that area. Concerning the lack of online play, it's the Wii, okay? Look, put it to you this way, I'd love to be able to play online with my friends, but I don't really think Nintendo could pull that off. And when it comes to playing with strangers, yeah, count the times people drop out of matches in Call of Duty. Do you really think that you're going to be able to consistently get a game with people playing for 30 minutes? And this isn't a game where you can drop people in and out. Bottom line, it's probably best that they wait until the Wii U to put in an online mode. Lastly, this is minor, but why can't the AI learn that when Bowser asks you if you want more presents, you need to say no? It's ridiculous.
Psst.
On the other hand, when it actually comes to the AI that, counts, it's mostly decent. The very hard AI is no joke, but even normal can somewhat hold its own. They'll screw you over given the opportunity, and they can do alright in the minigames, although, again, try switching up to very hard. So, Mario Party 9. Is it worth the money? Well, it is admittedly more of the same, and that's why this review has been somewhat short. There's not too much I can say, but nonetheless, I'm going to go with a yes on this one. I simply had a blast, and there's plenty of replay value. The minigames are fun, and the overall structural change-up was refreshing. I do wish that if they make a Mario Party 10, they'll bring back some of the old elements, but until then, this is still a great party game, and if you have ever enjoyed Mario Party in the past, I say you should definitely try this out. I'm satisfied with forking over $50 for this game, and that says a lot for me and my limited budget. With great charm, awesome minigames, and a sweet change-up to the best party formula, Mario Party 9 gets an 8 out of 10.